The issue of anti-Semitism is a unique issue in the Bible. And you'll find that it takes place in two big halves. One is before the birth of Jesus, and one is after the birth of Jesus. It's amazing that it's in both locations. Of course, in the Old Testament, before you get to the time of Jesus, you see the Pharaoh trying to kill all the Jews. You see Haman trying to kill all the Jews. You see, even at the time right when Jesus was born, Herod trying to kill all the Jews. Now, why is that? It's a deep mystery of the Bible. But as I can understand it, it's all about the fact that before Jesus was born, God made a covenant with the Jewish people that the Savior would be born through the Jewish people. And Satan knew that that Savior was going to destroy him. So what he wanted to do was to kill all the Jews before that Savior would be born. That's how anti-Semitism takes place until the time of Jesus. Now after that, you would think, well, maybe there isn't any reason for that anymore. The problem is, or I say problem jokingly, but the reason is that because the covenant continues. And that God's covenant with the Jewish people is not just about the first coming, it's also about the second coming. It's not just about him coming and being born to be a suffering servant, but it's also about him coming back from heaven as a conquering king to Jerusalem to set up his kingdom. So when Jesus said to the people of Jerusalem, you will not see me again until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, he was basically saying the covenant that God has with the Jewish people, that I would come the first time and be born through the Jewish people, is still in effect in the end times when I'm going to come back again. And when I come back, I'm not going to come as a baby, I'm going to come as a general, but I'm still going to come back to that group of people. And Satan knows, if people understand the Bible and believes there is evil in the world and there is satanic forces, they know that when Yeshua returns, all those evil forces are driven off of this planet, and it's a great victory for the forces of good. And they want to stop that. And there's this condition, and that is to keep Jewish people away from faith in Yeshua. So we either want to kill the Jews, if you can't kill them, get them away from faith in Jesus. And that's where spiritual warfare is focused. Why? Because it's not about Jewish people. There's nothing different about us. It's all about Yeshua. All the Bible's about him. He comes one time, born here in this area, and he's going to come back here to this area. And the spiritual warfare is about stopping him. And I wish our people would understand that, because they don't understand what happens with anti-Semitism and why are all the attacks there. But it all has to do with Yeshua, because he's one of us. Not because he's against us, just the opposite. Because he's one of us. And the world sees Yeshua as a Jew. Satan sees Jesus as a Jew. The Jewish people don't want that, but that's what the spiritual warfare is about. And that's why this seemingly small issue, most of the world says, what do they care? I mean, the Jewish people, what are they? 10 million people, a tiny little country in the Middle East. Why is this so important? There's many more black people, there's more Chinese people, there's more refugees from the Middle. Why is this important? Well, it's only important because Jesus is the most important person in the world, and he happens to be born Jewish and is going to come back to Jerusalem. That's what makes this issue important. Not the people group, but him. All of history, all of God's plan centers on Yeshua. He's the Son of God, but he's also the Son of David. He's God, but he's also a Jewish man. And that's where the fight comes down, is to stop Yeshua from coming back, setting up his kingdom on this earth, and kicking the devil out of here.
Will you state your full name? Julius Streicher.
Mein Himmelswillen, dass der Jude stirbt.
Streicher's incitement to murder and extermination at the time when Jews in the East were being killed under the most horrible conditions clearly constitutes persecution on political and racial grounds.
Gab es außer Ihrem Wochenblatt, insbesondere seit dem Machtantritt der Partei, noch andere Presseerzeugnisse in Deutschland, welche die Judenfrage in judengegnerischem Sinne behandelten?
Antisemitische Presseerzeugnisse gab es in Deutschland durch Jahrhunderte. Es wurde bei mir zum Beispiel ein Buch beschlagnahmt von Dr. Martin Luther. Dr. Martin Luther säße heute sicher an meiner Stelle auf der Anklagebank, wenn dieses Buch von der Anklagevertretung in Betracht gezogen würde.
Luther as a God-centered man.
So here's a man that was absolutely used by God.
A great preacher of the Bible.
Martin Luther is one of the shining lights that has brought transformation to the church.
Church, 15th and 16th century, was both a theological religious institution, but it was also a state.
Pope at that time was head of the Medici dynasty.
The level of corruption was immense.
Bald das Geld im Kasten klingt, die Seele aus dem Fegefeuer springt.
He used the indulgence to bring money.
Das ist natürlich Blasphemie.
That was something that really struck him, also made him angry.
Jesus Christus will, dass das ganze Leben der Christen eine Buße sei.
Luther says often that the gospel always has enemies.
Ja, es ist sehr bedrückend und sehr schlimm, was Martin Luther hier formuliert.
The Jews are the first and the perennial enemy of the gospel for Luther.
He was a man filled with rage toward the Jewish people.
Dass man ihre Synagogen oder Schulen mit Feuer anstecken und das nicht verbrennen, mit Erde überhäufe und überschüttet.
Not only that, it's impossible to convert the Jews, they will never be converted because that's God's punishment for them.
Zum anderen, dass man auch ihre Häuser desgleichen zerbreche und zerstöre.
Forbid Jews to utter the name of God publicly. And this is horrible.
If the Christians would not expel the Jews from the land, the last day God would punish the Christians.
Best thing was to drive them out like the French, the English, the Spanish have done so, and to be without them.
Dass man den Juden das Geleit und Straße ganz und gar aufhebe.
Not possible to be more offensive to my people.
They used Luther for their political ideology.
Nazism was able to thrive and prosper in Germany because of the foundation that Martin Luther had laid.
The overall message of the Nazis was Luther is great because he was an anti-Semite.